Frank26, News and Views, Sunday AM, the 2nd of March 2025. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. KTFA. Frank26. Proof that they work through Ramadan, F26. Parliament will not be suspended. Parliamentary Legal Committee reveals the plan for sessions during Ramadan. February 27, 2025. A member of the Parliamentary Legal Committee, Mohammed Anous, confirmed on Thursday that the Iraqi parliament will not be suspended early due to the upcoming legislative elections, stressing that the council has a moral and constitutional responsibility to continue holding its sessions and approving the remaining laws. Anous added to Shafaq news agency that the first and second legislative chapters are sufficient to complete the reading, discussion and voting on many laws, stressing that the council will resume its sessions next week. He pointed out that parliament sessions during the month of Ramadan will be in the evening, i.e. after breakfast, to ensure the continuation of legislative work before the end of the current session. It is noteworthy that the current session of the Iraqi Council of Representatives began on January 9, 2022, and is scheduled to continue for 4 years, which means that it will end on January 8, 2026. According to the amended Electoral Law No. 12 of 2018, legislative elections must be held 45 days before the end of the parliamentary term. Accordingly, the next elections are expected to be held in late November 2025. Recently, the Independent High Electoral Commission began its technical and logistical preparations to ensure that the elections are held on the scheduled date, in coordination with the Prime Minister's office. Frank26. Once again CBI reached to the international theater, not at 1310, F26. CBI governor announces integration of Iraq's e-payment system with global networks. February 26, 2025 Baghdad. The governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Ali al-Alak, announced on Wednesday the details of electronic payment in all of Iraq. He pointed out that the financial inclusion rate has increased to more than 40%. He emphasized that the bank has achieved international integration by linking the Iraqi electronic payment system to global networks. Al-Alak said in a speech during the 9th Annual Exhibition and Conference for Finance and Banking Services in Iraq, which was attended by a reporter of the Iraqi news agency, INA, there is a complete roadmap for the digitization of banking services through electronic payment as a key tool for digital transformation, as the number of devices reached 63,000 devices in the governorates of Iraq. The number of ATMs has reached more than 4,000 devices and the number of bank cards is about 17 million, he added. The central bank supported the licensing and operation of mobile e-wallets that allow charging, transferring and paying bills, which raised the rate of financial inclusion to more than 40% compared to 20% 3 years ago, he said. The number of permanent wallets has reached 1,200,000 wallets, and we have achieved international integration by linking the Iraqi electronic payment system to global payment networks, allowing the transformation of the acceptance of foreign cards locally and expanding the acceptance of Iraqi cards internationally, he said. The achievements in the field of information technology and electronic payments at the central bank are a fundamental shift in the financial system, he said. Frank26. Northern Iraq oilfields welcome Russia, F26 Russia announces imminent resumption of oil projects in Kurdistan region. February 26, 2025 Baghdad. Today, Wednesday, February 26, 2025, the expert in international economic affairs, Nawar al-Saadi, revealed the importance of the Central Bank of Iraq launching its own digital currency. Al-Saadi told Baghdad Today, from an economic standpoint, this step has great benefits, but at the same time it involves challenges and risks that must be dealt with carefully. He explained that the importance of this step lies in several aspects, most notably that it provides a more efficient and transparent means of electronic payment, which reduces reliance on paper money and limits the informal economy. Adding, it also contributes to enhancing financial inclusion by facilitating digital transactions, especially in a country like Iraq where a large percentage of the population is still outside the formal banking system. He added, the central bank's digital currency could help reduce the costs of printing and managing paper currency, and improve control over cash flows, which would help combat corruption and money laundering. However, this step is not without risks, especially in light of the challenges facing the Iraqi financial system, he added, indicating that the most prominent concerns are the possibility of using digital currency in smuggling operations, especially if there are no strict mechanisms to monitor digital transactions. Iraq already suffers from challenges in controlling money transfers through informal channels, and any weakness in managing digital currency could lead to its exploitation by illegal networks. Al-Saudi also warned that there are risks related to monetary stability, as the rapid transition to digital currency may lead to pressures on the traditional banking system, especially if banks are not technically and practically prepared for this change. Moreover, any security or technical flaw in the digital infrastructure may make the financial system more vulnerable to cyber attacks or hacking. The international economic affairs expert pointed out that, in order to ensure the success of this step, it is necessary for the central bank to follow a well-thought-out policy to implement it gradually, with a clear legal framework to regulate the use of digital currency, stressing the need to strengthen the digital banking infrastructure and ensure the readiness of the financial system to accommodate this transformation without affecting economic stability. If this policy is implemented with caution and transparency, the central bank's digital currency can be an effective tool to strengthen the Iraqi economy and push it towards more modernity and financial openness. Earlier on Wednesday, the central bank governor, Ali Al-Ilaq, revealed the intention to create a digital banking currency to replace paper currencies. Al-Ilaq said, in a speech during the 9th Finance and Banking Services Conference and Exhibition, which was followed by Baghdad Today, that the financial and banking system will witness fundamental transformations, including the decline of paper currencies to be replaced by digital payments for central banks. He added that the central bank is moving to create its own digital currency, to gradually replace the paper process as is happening in some central banks in the world, indicating that we are seriously considering establishing a data center in Iraq, and the bank has begun to move on this issue as part of the digital transformation steps. Frank26. MEGA, make Iraq great again. F26. After calling for cutting funding to Baghdad, U.S. Representative. Let's make Iraq great again. February 28, 2025, U.S. Republican Representative Joe Wilson called for making Iraq great again and stopping Iran's control over it, after his previous calls to stop funding Iraq, according to the American Fox News channel. The American report, which was translated by Shafaq News Agency, explained that Wilson, who is also a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives, published a tweet on the X platform in which he said, "Make Iraq great again," accompanied by a picture of the Iraqi flag. The report noted that many people commented on Representative Wilson's tweet, including one who wrote to him saying, "America first," while another commented saying, "Forget Iraq and worry about the Americans." The report indicated that Representative Wilson spoke publicly on social media about various foreign countries, including Iraq and Iran, where he criticized Tehran's control over Baghdad, and repeatedly used the phrase, "Liberate Iraq from Iran." The report quoted Wilson as saying in previous positions, Iran runs the Iraqi government, as well as the army, judiciary, police and banks. In a previous post, Wilson said that the great people of Iraq, of all religions and ethnicities, are the heirs of a great civilization, and deserve better than to be ruled by a terrorist regime in Iran, criticizing the former Joe Biden administration's abandonment of the non-sectarian protest movement in Iraq, adding that, "We must empower the Iraqi people to make Iraq great again and liberate Iraq from Iran." The report also mentioned Wilson's previous publications, in which he called for stopping funding for Iraq, and cutting off all aid to Iraq as long as Iran runs it. Frank26. Monetary reform teaches. From the RV to the RE, F26. Analysis detailing the reasons for the fluctuations in the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar against the dollar over 21 years. February 28, 2025. The Iraq Al-Mustaqbal Foundation for Economic Studies and Consultations attributed, on Friday, the reasons for the fluctuations in the exchange rate of the dinar against the US dollar in the parallel market over more than 2 decades in the country to internal and external factors. This came according to an analysis issued by the institution, in which it explained these fluctuations from 2005 until 2024. The institution stated in its analysis that the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar in the parallel market witnessed noticeable fluctuations over the course of 21 years, as it was affected by a group of factors ranging from political, legislative and economic. The analysis added that supply and demand were the most influential, as the patterns of exchange rate changes differed according to the months of the year as a result of internal and external factors, such as the timing of the launch of the general budget and official holidays in major countries exporting goods to Iraq, such as China and Iran. He pointed out that, by analyzing the exchange rate data in the parallel market from 2005 to 2024, there appears to be a recurring pattern that reflects the dinar's value being affected by specific months more than others. According to the institution, December was the month with the most frequent increase in the value of the dinar, as it witnessed a decline in 13 years out of 21 years, followed by August and June with increases in the value of the dinar against the dollar in 11 years, then April 10 times, while October and November witnessed an increase 9 times, and March 8 times. May was the month with the least frequent decline in the value of the dinar, as its value rose only 4 times during the period studied, which gives a semi-impression that the prices of the dinar against the dollar rise in the months of February, March and April, then decline again against the dollar in May as a result of the strong return of demand in May. The institution warned in its analysis that, despite this clear seasonal impact on the exchange rate, there are other factors that cannot be ignored, such as the levels of dollar sales by the Central Bank of Iraq, which directly affect the size of the money supply in the market, as well as political and financial factors such as the timing of the release of general budget funds, in addition to geopolitical situations that may cause sudden disturbances in the demand for foreign currency. The analysis concluded that the seasonal effect remains one of the main elements in determining the exchange rate trends in Iraq, as a recurring pattern appears at the end of the year and the beginning of the fiscal year. In addition to being affected by official holiday periods in countries exporting goods to Iraq, however, other factors, such as monetary policies and political and economic developments, remain a direct influence on the parallel market, which makes it necessary to monitor all these variables to understand exchange rate changes more accurately. Frank26. Digital currency is safer than paper. Security and stability, F26. From safe internet to smart systems, Iraq enters the digital revolution era with steady steps. February 28, 2025. The financial advisor to the Prime Minister, Mazhar Mohammad Saleh, confirmed that Iraq is moving steadily towards achieving a major digital renaissance, based on a set of foundations that support this trend. Saleh explained to Euphrates News Agency, the most prominent of these foundations is the progress achieved in 2 types of infrastructure. He explained that the first category is represented by the advanced technological infrastructure, whether through secure and strong internet networks or digital payment systems that work effectively and efficiently in parallel with each other. Saleh continued, as for the other category, it is the advanced legal infrastructure that provides protection for the rights of users, operators, and the public right against electronic and financial crimes arising from the digital transformation. He pointed out the importance of having the ability to keep pace with the developments of digital technology in the virtual world on an ongoing basis, indicating that the advisory team in the General Secretariat and all relevant Iraqi state institutions are keen to achieve this to ensure that Iraq enters the new digital age. Frank26. Apicor wants to get paid, because they too wait for the new exchange rate. F26. IOCs demand written agreements, payment surety, APIKUR spokesperson. The 1st of March 2025 Erbil. As discussions continue over the resumption of oil exports from the Kurdistan region, Colonel Miles B. Kagans III, spokesperson for the Association of the Petroleum Industry of Kurdistan, APIKUR, has emphasized the necessity of formal agreements before any further steps are taken. Speaking exclusively to Kurdistan 24, Kagans laid out APIKUR's conditions, stressing that without clear, binding agreements, international oil companies, IOCs, will not proceed with production and exports. APIKUR's stance on oil exports. Kagans explained that APIKUR, which represents 8 companies operating in the Kurdistan region, collectively produces over 60% of the region's oil. He clarified that while APIKUR welcomes the Iraqi oil minister's statement regarding the resumption of oil exports, the reality is that no formal agreements are currently in place. According to him, the lack of written contracts is a fundamental obstacle preventing exports from moving forward. We need agreements in writing. These are called sales agreements and lifting agreements. Our companies need to know that when they produce oil, they will get payment and the path for payment, Kagan stated. He emphasized that across the global oil industry, including in federal Iraq, such agreements are standard practice, ensuring both producers and buyers have a clear understanding of their obligations. Without these legal documents, APIKUR companies remain hesitant to restart production. Kagans illustrated the issue with a simple analogy. I was at a restaurant in Zakho a couple of days ago, and I had breakfast. The restaurant owner understood that if he gave me chai, I was going to pay him in Iraqi dinar. It's the same concept. If our companies are producing oil, they need to know how and when they will get paid. Aligning payments with the Iraqi budget law. Another major concern raised by APIKUR is ensuring that payments to oil companies align with the Iraqi budget law. Under the current arrangement, the Iraqi central government provides payments to the KRG based on total oil production in the Kurdistan region. These funds are then allocated among oil companies based on production volumes. Kagans highlighted the importance of ensuring that APIKUR companies receive payments consistent with their contracts with the KRG and in accordance with Iraq's budget law. He further stressed that the Iraqi Prime Minister has publicly expressed the need to resume oil exports for the benefit of all Iraqis. The U.S. government, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio, has also voiced support for the continuation of Kurdistan's oil exports. Recognizing the economic benefits it brings to Iraq as a whole, Kagans emphasized that honoring contracts with oil companies would enhance Iraq's attractiveness to foreign investors across multiple industries. Addressing outstanding payments and future export volumes. Before resuming exports, APIKUR insists that there must be a structured plan to address outstanding payments. Kagans revealed that international oil companies operating in Kurdistan were not paid for the oil they produced between October 2022 and March 2023, resulting in over $1 billion in arrears. He stressed that before production resumes, there must be a written plan outlining how these arrears will be repaid. We just need to know that there is a plan in writing for us to get the money. That plan needs to be written on paper and agreed to for how the companies will get repaid and when they will get repaid, he said. Acknowledging that different companies may have their own individual decisions to make but stressing the need for a clear financial roadmap. Furthermore, APIKUR seeks assurances regarding future oil export volumes. Decisions about how much oil will be exported and at what rates must also be specified in formal agreements. You see, it all comes back to these written agreements, Kagans reiterated. We cannot do business based on press statements and tweets. We need agreements on paper. As Baghdad and Erbil continue negotiations on the future of Kurdistan's oil sector, APIKUR remains firm in its position that transparency and contractual certainty are non-negotiable. With ongoing discussions between the KRG, Baghdad, and international stakeholders, the coming weeks will be crucial in determining whether an agreement can be reached that satisfies all parties. Kagans concluded by reaffirming APIKUR's commitment to its investments in Kurdistan and willingness to cooperate in securing a sustainable future for oil production in the region. However, he made it clear that without written agreements, the resumption of Kurdistan's oil exports remains uncertain. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: dinarrecaps.com